This is Gene Morrow, the Bounty Hunter, and this podcast is brought to you by My Town Media and 97.7 The Dawg. And today's podcast is with Janice, who's the lead investigator with Neosho County Paranormal Investigators out of Chanute.
Gene?
Hi there, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm fine. So how's things?
You're fine?
I'm fine. How are things in the big city?
In Cowtown? Oh, no, that's Wichita.
That's Wichita? Okay, well, you're close, kind of, sort of.
Kind of, yeah.
And so anyway, Janice, is this your first podcast?
Yes. No, it's not.
Yes, no, it's not? Okay. All
no,
right.
It's not.
I'm confused. Okay.
So are we live now or taping now?
Well,
or?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it's kind of laid back. So,
okay.
You know, there's a lot of things I'm going to be asking you. Like, for example, take me back to your childhood. At some point, you must have got interested in the paranormal.
Yeah, actually, it was a house we were living in when I was around 7 years old.
Wow.
And it seemed to have, I saw it was a little girl ghost in there. And once we moved out of that place, I never saw her again.
Oh,
so
you actually saw her?
Yeah, I actually would see her. So nobody else saw her, but I saw her.
Okay. Must have been kind of a shocker.
Yeah, it scared me, to be honest with you. It really scared me. I would have long talks with my mother about it.
And how'd that go?
She thought I was just imagining it. I was having nightmares. She thought I was dreaming. I wasn't. So that's how that went.
So it was a one-time event?
That time, yes, in that house it was.
Okay.
But then we moved to another house, and I feel like there was something at that house too. So as I got older, I started, looking into this stuff. Oh,
okay.
Gosh. Sorry.
Well,
that's the other phone.
Well, you had a twin sister?
Yeah, twin sister.
And
so that.
Is there a story behind that? Is there a story behind that?
Well, after she passed, it's 20 years ago.
Okay.
After she passed, I started having a lot of different things, like little signs, things moving, phone ringing, nobody on the other end. And this was a landline. It was kind of before the cell phones all started pretty much coming out. And I just felt like it was happening a lot right after she passed, so it got me really wondering. And when I was younger, I would go to the library a lot. And I had seen a newspaper, it was back in I would say it was the late 70s. And it was Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I saw them talking about a house that they were investigating where this little girl was having all this activity around her. So that kind of piqued my interest. But then after my twin sister died, I started, getting interested in it again. And when my twin was alive, her and we'd go to different places around San Diego because they have the Star of India, the old sailing ship. They had the Whaley House. They have all the old missions. And it was kind of just something that we were interested in ourselves, just kind of running around for fun. And then as, later on, through the years, the shows started coming on TV, and it was kind of a taboo subject before.
Well, yeah.
But once, it started coming on television, it wasn't so much of a subject that you didn't want to discuss with people.
Yeah, it's kind of became mainstream now, seems like.
Yeah, it did. And then word got out when I moved here to Kansas, just from people that I would talk to because I was so interested in it. And next thing I know, word of mouth, people just started coming to me with their stories.
Ah, okay. All right.
Well, we kind of had that same experience when we did that. Was it Barnstock with you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we had set up the table, with the banner and everything, and there was a lot of people standing around just kind of staring at us like, what are they doing here and who are they? And even like some of the old farmers and stuff were just kind of checking us out. And then about an hour and a half after being there, they started like generating towards the table and started talking to us and started telling us stories, and things that were happening in their barns or on their land or so. I think a lot of people have experiences, but they just don't feel comfortable talking about them.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then that's kind of where I ended up starting the page and the paranormal page in 2013.
Okay.
And many times I have people come to the page and they say, usually a couple of things, and one is, you're not going to believe this, and I always tell them, yes, I do believe it. Or they say, you're going to think I'm crazy, and I always say, no, I don't think you're crazy. So it kind of gives a platform for people to come. And now there's so many groups out there that, it's easy to contact somebody. Back in the day, you'd have to look them up and usually find them through a website.
Okay.
But now with Facebook, it's all over. It's everywhere.
And now people are finding you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually take at least one message about the paranormal, sometimes more. And then sometimes it seems to amp up around certain times, like Halloween, of course. Everybody, I don't know, everybody seems to get, I guess because of just the time of year, people seem to be more interested in it, so.
Yeah, I can see that. So, since you started your group, the Paranormal Investigators, have you had some really interesting experiences you could tell me about?
Yeah, I think one of my more interesting experiences, well, there was a couple of different places, but one was Waverly Hills Sanatorium. We went to an event that they were holding there, and we were up on, I think it was the third floor. And there was a small group of us, and we were watching shadows moving from one side of the hallway to the other side of the hallway. So that was a really neat experience because there was several people there to validate and back up what the other person was seeing.
So other people were seeing the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing. And they were people from different states and different, groups, because there was different paranormal groups there. So it wasn't like I was related to anybody there. Everybody was strangers, basically. So, and we were all having the same experience. So that place is really interesting. If anybody could ever get there, they are now building onto it where they're having people can actually stay overnight, and they're doing the same thing. Yeah, they're doing the same thing now at the not Pintian Castle, but at the Belvedere Winery, and that place is really active too. I've had lots of different experiences in the old buildings there.
Well,
I think I've been.
Well, I just wanted to ask. So, what do you think makes, like the Waverly Sanitarium, what do you think makes one building like full of all this activity, and others it's like nothing? Well, what do you think's going on? I mean,
well, I think the history of the building and what's gone on in the building.
Okay.
Like in the Waverly Hills, it was a sanatorium. People were going there. It wasn't not for crazy people. People were going there to try to get well. So there was a lot of people through there, and of course with that, a lot of people died too. And there's, at the Waverly Hills, they have the death tunnel where they take the bodies away as to not, freak out the other residents.
Okay.
And so down in that death tunnel, and it's a very long death tunnel, they call it the death tunnel. But I think they had like a railroad car that would kind of like move up and down it at one point in time too. But I think it's like a lot of it's residual. It's not even intelligent. It's not like trying to communicate with you. It's just doing its own thing, kind of playing. It's like an imprint in time. So, and that makes the difference between different types of haunts too. Is it intelligent? Is it residual? Is it something darker? And could it be like more of a force of, in the demonic range? Which I've never, in the time that I've been doing this, I've never seen that kind of demonic part, but I have seen people get, I'm trying to think of the word I want to use right now, like an oppression.
Okay.
Something has like attached to them. So you got to be careful. You don't know what you're dealing with. And I tell people, just be respectful because you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't want to take something off and bring it home with you.
Yeah. Well, you'd mentioned Ed and Lorraine Warren. A lot of people might not know who they are, but they were the investigators with the Amityville house, right? Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And they started out with New England Paranormal Society, and they started, I think, when they were in the late 50s. So, and then there's been paranormal, and people into the paranormal before them, but I mean, they're the ones who basically brought it to light.
Uh-huh.
And, they were the first ones probably doing, all the interviews in newspapers. And in fact, if you go to, I have newspapers.com, so I can do a lot of research. And if you go to old newspapers, you can research them, and they come up all over the place, all over the state, for different lecturers and different colleges. And they were just kind of like, once they got popular, once they got known, people started inviting them, all over the place. So,
okay.
And their grandson now runs called the Ed and Lorraine Warren Legacy Foundation for paranormal research, and I'm actually in my second year connected with that. So I'm part of that research. Yeah. So, and if anybody's like interested in that, they can find him on YouTube or on Facebook. The Ed and Lorraine Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research.
Well, I noticed on one of your pictures I'd seen on your website, you had met Chip Coffey. I guess it's psychic, right?
Yes.
Did you get to work with him at all?
We actually did. We did an event. So with the event, they have, the dinner, and then they have different things. It's a whole weekend. And he did like a gallery reading. And so different people got read. And then we all went on an investigation. And so, he was with us. And he would come to different areas in different groups, because I don't really suggest those kind of things for, like, any type of real paranormal, you're not going to get a whole lot. I don't think you are.
Okay.
You've got too many people, too much noise. They're fun. You're running around in the dark with a bunch of fun people. And I think the funnest one I ever did was the Ghost Brothers. And they were hilarious. That was pretty fun.
Well, tell me about that.
They were there, too, at the Pintian Castle. And usually Amy and Adam that were started out with ghost hunters, they've gone off and done their own little ghost hunting, team. Or it's called, oh, gosh. Should have had all this written down. Anyhow, they're on Facebook, Amy and Adam, and they offer these different investigations in different parts of the United States. And they've even they had like it was a cruise, and they went to like Hawaii. So that was a little bit too rich for my blood, but
yeah.
But that's how I ended up seeing the Ghost Brothers, because they have different guests on these different events. So I think I've done the Belvedere Winery 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
So, and I've met a lot of people that are in the paranormal field and do, the shows through those events.
So,
And one is,
I know you got a lot of
go
little
ahead.
tools you use, electronic stuff and all. Have you captured some really good evidence? I know
Really
I'm
good
making
evidence?
you think hard. I know.
Yeah, I would say when we were at the Browns Mansion in Coffeyville, we had the night vision camera going. We didn't have it on night vision. We just were running it as a regular camera. And everybody left it. We had it up in the ballroom, and we left the ballroom. And so it's not to contaminate anything that might come up on the camera.
Okay.
And we had posted a particular video on YouTube, and we didn't even realize what we had captured. It was one of the YouTube watchers that contacted us and told us, did you see so-and-so, in this particular frame at this particular time? And we hadn't, so we went back over it. And so then we cut that little clip down into its own little video now so people can see it. And nobody was up there. And so it was a good catch. And, if we go any place and we catch one thing, we're usually jumping up and down.
What did you catch?
We don't know what it is. It's really hard to tell what it is, but it's moving, and it just. I have to send you the video. It's pretty interesting.
Okay.
And then when we were at Sally House too in Atchison, Kansas, there was me, another investigator, and we were upstairs, and I'm talking, and I'm saying something about time lapse, and then you hear him say, "No kidding." Well, he didn't even talk at that particular time. So whatever it was mimicking him, and that's like a phrase he would say, "No kidding." So that was interesting that it seemed to, mimic him. And then right after that, there's a voice, and it sounds like it's right next to the camera, the night vision camera. And to this day, nobody can figure out what it says. And I have that clip too. And to me, it almost sounds like a cat. Other people says it sounds like a little girl. And I can share that one with you too.
Okay.
And then another time, and you've been there with me, and that was at the old hospital in Neosho.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I went there another time after I went with you, and we were all down on the bottom floor, and there was no electricity going on that floor. And I have a meter called the Gauss meter. Well, the Gauss meter, it seems like when there's certain, activity is going to happen, this meter will go off a certain way. And it rarely goes off, but when it does go off, I know we're going to get something. And right after it went off, it was doing it, and when I'm saying it on the video, I said, "That's weird, it's doing it over a wooden stuffed chair. There's nothing make it respond like that." And then right after that, we hear a disembodied voice that says, "Ashley." So not only did we hear it with our ears, but we also captured it on the video.
Cool.
And Ashley is the name of the person that, owns the building. So I thought that was interesting.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's been different places and different times. And recently we had just done the Humboldt Museum, and it was back in October. It was actually when you were there.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you know that we caught that?
No, I did not.
We were in the little kitchen area, and I think you guys had gone off into that building where all the farm implements were.
Yeah.
And I was asking how many people are here, and we got it over the voice recorder, and that's one thing I like better is, getting audio and video from voice recorders or the audio from a camera, or just film. If you videotape it.
That's the real deal then.
Yeah, it's not like all those little gadgets.
Yeah.
But the gadgets come in handy when they're all doing something at one time and they're correlating, and then you capture something. So I kind of use them all together.
Okay.
But anyhow, I asked how many is here, and a very faint woman's voice. You can hear it saying 7, and there was 7. So
Wow.
I thought that was pretty interesting. So
Wow.
there was 4 with you, and then there was 3, me included, with who I was with. So that was 7. Even though you guys weren't in the room, it still said 7, and it's like, so to me that's intelligent.
Yeah.
It was able to respond to me intelligently. So,
Well,
but
that's
I
cool.
guess when I sit here and think about it, we have captured a lot of things, different places, and there was a place in when we did a 6-month collaboration with the town of Cherryville, and we did the city. They're like county clerk's office, the police station, the fire station, the library, and a cemetery, and a private residence during that 6 months. And there was a point in time when we were in the fire station where we caught something, and it sounded like a man, and to me it sounded like an Indian man. It sounded like he was saying something in Indian language. I'd like to get that to somebody that might be able to let us know what possibly is being said. And so I have that captured. And then the same thing, or something else happened when we were at the graveyard, and we actually had a friend of ours that is a psychic, and she was drawn to a certain grave. And once we got to the grave, we decided to try to pull up on the newspaper.com if we could find anything. And there was a whole write-up about this particular grave. And it happened that the mother and the child died within, I think it was a 3-day period of each other. So that was really interesting. And out of all the graves in that graveyard, that's where we were pulled to. So that was pretty interesting. I think we even have that on film, too.
Okay. At this time, I want to let everybody know that you can download our app for 97.7 The Dawg. Just go to our website at 977thedawg.com. Click on the app icon and download it to your phone. You can take us with you everywhere you go, and that's a good thing. Also, our Facebook page, 97.7 The Dawg on Facebook. And 97.7 FM on your radio dial. We got the best classic rock anywhere. Let's see, you got your Facebook page. Do you have a .com?
No, I had a website for a long time, and then I just let it go.
Okay.
After the Facebook, because nobody would contact us through there anyway.
Right. Okay.
Everybody kind of just quit using, the website part of it.
Okay. So
we have more engagement on the Facebook page. So.
Okay. So if somebody's out there that's needing some help and you want to get a hold of you, just get a hold of you on Facebook?
Yep, we have a the messenger for the page there.
Okay.
So, and I need to go give the page a little love. Kind of took a lot of things down through the years because it changes, it's changed over the years. Like I said, I put that up in May 2013. So, you have team members come and go, and there's certain things that we would do and wouldn't do, and we do now or whatever. So,
well, speaking of team members, what do you look for as far as somebody that's maybe going to join the team? I know there's got to be some things you look at.
Well, over the years, it's changed a lot, and that one of the main things is that everybody becomes friends. Everybody gets along because you just have one person that's, stands out where nobody can get along with them, or they want to just go do their own thing. Everybody's got to work together. Everybody's got to be considerate and mindful of what the other person's doing. And,
well, that makes sense.
Not have your own agenda. We have one agenda. So
how far are you willing to travel out? You got
Well,
a radius or anything like that, or?
it was, we were doing the 4 states, depending on how, how much you needed us, or, and if we can't, we are connected to a lot of other teams, around. Now there's a team in Fort Scott. So, if it's something like up that way, I can, ask them to do it or help us out with it.
Okay.
Or Kansas City, there's teams in Wichita. So there's a pretty good network now. So if we can't make it, we know teams that are good that, we can ask to help us out. Okay.
Well, Janice, tell me about the Ouija board. How about that?
Well, the Ouija board, we get a lot of people that come to the page, and when I say a lot of people that have played with them, and somehow I believe they've opened something that they can't close. And that's one thing I always ask them, did you close your session when you were done? And they're like, no, we didn't know we were supposed to. And I was like, well, yeah, that's where a lot of the issue comes from. I've had people playing them in their homes with their kids, people playing them in graveyards.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it seems like they've opened a whole host of problems. So, and we get that more than you probably would think. So I just warn people, and, using paranormal equipment, too, is also a way of opening it up. So, I'm not saying that it just can be opened by a Ouija board. So if you're going to do this, just be very careful of what you're doing. So, and use something that you believe can protect you, because I think it's all about the intention. So, bring a blessed item, or, a stone, or, something that you feel you've got some protection and faith in. So you got to just be careful, I think.
Yeah, well, speaking of careful, there's this COVID thing going on, and I'm sure that's created quite a few problems for you.
Yeah, in fact, with everything going through Facebook right now, I see a lot of my friends that are musicians that can't make money, on, every day that they normally make.
Sure.
So they're doing like live Facebooks and things like that. So we that's one thing I want to point to, that we never ask for any type of money from anybody. And if you ever have any investigators out there trying to get money out of you, then run the other way, because that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're here to do. So if we ever go do an investigation and somebody wants to donate for our gas or whatever, then, or our meal or whatever, then we'll say, okay. But I mean, never, there shouldn't be any money exchanged. So, but I will say that with the COVID, I'm getting more people I'm working through the page, that come to me, and just doing phone calls and messages and trying to see if we can take care of their problem without having to come out there.
Oh, wow.
Because in fact, I just had 2 different ones that had come to me, and they'll message you a lot, and you kind of walk them through it, and then you have the phone calls, and then when you don't hear from them anymore, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I would like to hear, I'd like to hear an update, but sometimes you don't. But that means that they're not having the problem anymore, apparently, or hopefully. So, but yeah, COVID has put a damper on a lot of things when it comes to the paranormal.
Hopefully by summer that'll all be gone. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
So,
hopefully.
Anyway. Well, anyway, I guess we probably ought to wrap this up. So it's been educational and fun. So.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a good time.
It was.
And thanks again.
You're welcome.
And that's Janice with Neosho County Paranormal Investigators. Also, once again, remind everybody, download our app. Just go to 977thedawg.com. click on the download the app icon, and you can take us with you wherever you go. It's a good thing. And do be sure to go to our Facebook page at 97.7 The Dawg on Facebook. Give us a like and make sure you follow our page.